I'm wondering, I'm sure you listened to Asantehene as he spoke. What has this mediation effort meant to those of you within the Kusok traditional area?
I listened to it. I was glued to my chair with my eyes fixed and my ears widely opened when wisdom started flowing from the mouth of His Majesty Otumfuo Osei II regarding the Bawku protracted conflict that has taken away precious lives, destroyed property, disrupted economic businesses in Bawku, and I was nothing but full of joy, praises, admiration for His Majesty Otumfuo Osei II for his boldness, for the deep research he has done, for the wisdom, for the management and negotiation skills that he displayed before laying this report to His Excellency the President John Dramani Mahama. I really love my heart for Otumfuo and all parties that was involved in this mediation for the good work they have done to bring about what we call peace, because we can't exchange peace for conflict. And I really appreciate them and appreciate Otumfuo very much.
And do you think what is being proposed will be acceptable to all?
You see, it's not that it would be acceptable. We've all lived in Bawku since we were born, and we know that what is happening in Bawku is not what we want. It is that we have to embrace it. We don't have an option. History has been told, legal issues have been brought forth for everybody to understand, situation has been demonstrated, and I think that this outcome of his mediation is not arbitration, it's a mediation to bring about an understanding between the parties. That's what we need in Garu is peace. In Bawku and the Kosak traditional area is peace. And from his narration, the overlord of Mampuru has welcomed it from what he expressed. He has told him the benefits of it and that there is no turning point. The only way to go is to embrace peace and accept his recommendations. And I think he has done it skillfully. So to me, it is not a matter of a choice. It is that the only choice on this earth for development, for coexistence, is an element called peace that must be sought by everybody. And this is what the mediation sought to do. It has brought about at least some amount of knowledge and understanding of what was causing the conflict in Bawku. And it has also spelled out the legal ramifications and implications. If we don't embrace peace, then we can never solve it. If we don't embrace what has been ruled by the Supreme Court of Ghana, the Constitution, we cannot have peace in Bawku. And if there's no peace in Bawku, precious lives, more precious lives will be lost, development will be retarded, commerce cannot take place in Bawku, and that is not what we want. So I think we have no option but to embrace peace.
And I'm sure during the process of this mediation, one of the ways through which you can gauge whether or not people accept this process is the way they act on the ground. Has there been relative peace? Have all parties perhaps put down their weapons and waited for the outcome of this process?
There have been relative peace, just that there have been nucleus of issues in silos sometimes. But since the mediation advanced, getting to the last day that both factions met at Otumfuo's house, there have been some signs to prove that we want peace. I think personal interaction with some people demonstrate that we want peace and that everybody it would be taking the recommendation of His Majesty Otumfuo Osei II very kindly and embrace it to ensure that there's peace. Even before the announcement, we saw some calm in Bawku, and we pray that it will maintain. Leaders of both sides, I know, especially from the Kusasi side, I know, I've advised the youth, I've advised everybody to calm down, to embrace what is coming, and then do not do anything that would generate or degenerate into any arms wielding and shooting or anything. And for a fact, after Otunfo finished delivering his statement, I'm currently in Garu, there has been absolute calm in the entire Garu and the Kusa traditional area since last night. And we pray that everybody would silence the guns as it has happened or as it is happening, and let's see how we'll follow the recommendations of Otunfo to implement his recommendations. The government should hold the recommendations seriously, implement them, and I think we'll all be happy in the Kusa traditional area. It's a win-win situation for all of us. No one has lost and no one has won. It is peace that has won. That is what I think I've observed since the announcement or the report was handed over to His Excellency the President. But I want to thank Otunfo and the President for organizing it in such a way and delivering it in such a way that the word came from his own mouth to take away any speculations about what the report contains. And I think everybody heard it. I would admonish Ghanaians, let's preach to everybody we know who is from this area to embrace the report, to embrace peace, so that we can coexist and develop the Kusa traditional area.
You call the report bold. Why?
You see, I call it bold because he has outlined a lot of historical events, legal proceedings, even colonial history, and has summarized the entire history of the Kusa traditional area and how local authorities were working and how they worked during the colonial time and how it has been working after the colonial government left Ghana. It has made things very clear for all of us to understand that this is the situation. It was difficult for him to be able to convince, to me, Nairi, to accept, to relinquish ownership of Bawku in the Kusa traditional area. I know it was very, very difficult for him to tell him all what he said on TV for all of us to hear. And I know Nairi too, because of the law for peace, also accepted his request in good faith for peace. So to bring all these things he recounted to us about how he did the negotiation, he must be very bold in confronting it, because security agencies with all their ammunition, ammo cars have not been able to bring peace to Bawku. But a mediator with credibility, with skills, has been able to navigate through the complex web of the insecurity in Bawku and got to this point. It shows how bold it is. I'm sure he told everybody, both factions in their faces, what was needed to be heard, without fear or favor, but with determination to ensure that the horror that we were seeing in Bawku comes to an end. That is why I call it a bold report, because he didn't hide the truth from any of the factions.
It now leaves his hands, I guess it's now in the hands of the executive. What are your expectations? I know it's your party that's in power, but you're a member of parliament for Garu. What are your expectations of those who will be responsible for implementing the recommendations?
You see, government would surely, and I have hope, and I know government will surely implement the recommendations, because it is the desire of government to ensure that there is peace in Bawku. Peace in Bawku is peace. It would improve the security levels in the entire West Africa. Let me say that because we are close to Burkina, we are close to other countries that we think that there are uprisings, there are problems there, and then the rest. And if we don't have peace in Bawku, it is very easy we can be infiltrated. So I am quite sure that government would implement the recommendations of His Majesty Otufo Osetutu and his mediation team. I am also trying. I will also call that look. It is not only government that will be implementing this. All opinion leaders in Ghana, all stakeholders like the Peace Council, the Christian Council, the Islamic clergy, everybody. I think that we should all play a role, including your FM station, media houses, should deliberately ensure that no one comes to sit on your radio station to try to run down the mediation report that has been brought or try to bring more arguments that would cause problems in Bawku. Let's try, all of us should try and play a role that would actually help in the implementation of the recommendation of His Majesty Otufo Osetutu. That is what I would say. It is not only in the hands of government. Government has got the military and everything. He has not been able to implement it. But this mediation has brought more light and is calling for everybody to accept it and let's live in peace. So let me invite everybody, including myself, you the one interviewing me, the listeners who are listening to us, to embrace the recommendations because we have no option but to embrace peace brought to us by the mediation.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you very much, Bena, and thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Dr. Thomas Anaba is Member of Parliament for Garu constituency, joining us on the line. And of course, whenever they mention Bawku, most of the times, one of the things you remember is a conflict that's ongoing because constantly reported by those of us in the media. It is the only thing you usually will hear about Bawku. The next thing will be Member of Parliament for Bawku Central, Honorable Mahama Yarega. But most of the times, whenever Bawku's name is mentioned, people remember the conflict. But we are also told is the hub of activity when it comes to the Upper East. There are those who say Bogatanga is the regional capital, but economic activity is in Bawku. Bawku is the nerve center when it comes to economic activity. So it's sad that it's the area that's caught up in this kind of cycle of violence and conflict. And Asantehene's job was to speak to all the parties involved. Look them in the face, be bold enough to tell them the truth. One of my friends always said the problem with the issue is truth. Is that people are running away from the truth. People are not able to look each other in the face and tell them the truth, including even those who hold political power, are not able to tell people in the face the truth. That once that is done, it will have resolved majority of the problem. And that's what Asantehene has done mostly. If you listen to even him going through the report was written with a lot of honesty, frankness, and boldness. We'll go back to the things he